Tuam Home operated from the 1920s until its closure in 1961, and during that time there was a memorable phrase in my town, particularly one constituent continues to remind me of it, and I quote, "There was a deliberate unknowing of what was going on in both it and other institutions at the time." And one of the aims, Las Concorla, in understanding the past is that we have a better understanding on how we approach the future. And in that respect, I know the Minister would have grave concerns and share my concerns with respect to families who are being evicted today in Dublin, and children as young as 3 and 4 being holed up in a hotel as a consequence of seeing their parents being evicted from their house, or indeed children who are in the care of the HSE who go missing, vanish, or a situation where we have children under the provision of direct provision and the welfare of those children under the auspices of the state. There are many examples that we could focus our minds on, given that the dark warnings of history have currently presented with the House this week. On the Tuam House itself, it's plain and evident that the public are very concerned about reports that are emerging, Minister. They are aware of the story and they're quite outraged with one side or other of the presentation to date. And Minister, while I welcome this morning steps to proceed with a preliminary sort of establishment or scoping of facts, clearly I'm saying to you, Minister, that the public won't be caught. And I know that you're not that type of politician. And we can't have a situation where we fall victim, particularly of a territorial dispute between interdepartmental tensions. And I want you to explain to the House today what authority you have to bring this together, if you can do that. And in light of the inquiry, it would seem necessary for me to ask you today, have you contacted the guards with respect to any potential criminal investigation on this matter? What measures have the guards taken since this morning, since you've announced to secure the site in question and to ensure that all records from the home have been secured and that the site is secured as we speak? And if no such actions have taken with respect to the last 2 points, can we expect that they would take place immediately? Have the government been in contact with the Gardaí since your announcement at Leaders' Questions this morning?
Minister.
Thank you, Dr. Hirlock. I wish to thank the deputies for raising this important issue, which has been met with both shock and horror over the past few days. The situation in Tuam in particular is almost too graphic and horrible to believe. Young, innocent children, their lives so short and harrowing, where it seems, even in death, not given a proper, decent or humane burial. While the revelations in Tuam are indeed graphic and appalling, they are a reminder of a wider and darker past, where our children are far from cherished. The history of mother and baby homes in Ireland in the early and middle decades of the 20th century reflects a brutally unforgiving response by society, by the religious and state institutions, and in many cases even families, to young women and children where they were most in need and most vulnerable. Tuam was not unique in Ireland as a mother and baby home. Mother and baby homes were not unique in Ireland as cold and brutal places of refuge from an unforgiving society. And Ireland was, at least in some respects, not entirely unique amongst countries in dealing with its most vulnerable citizens in a manner that would not be countenanced in a civilised democracy. But in Ireland today we are confronted by the fact that as a newly established state we besmirched our lofty ambitions and ideals and made hollow our promise to cherish all of the children of the nation equally. Whereas in their day these women and children were unjustly made to feel so much shame, we must now carry this shame for how this country dealt with them in their time of need. The revelations in Tuam, County Galway, have brought to the fore the situation in other mother and baby homes throughout the country. The practice in mother and baby homes have to date not featured prominently in the various reviews and investigations which have dealt with many of the past abuses which were inflicted on vulnerable citizens, many of them women and children. It's fully recognised by me and by my government colleagues that we need to establish the truth. As has been announced, consideration is being given to the best means of addressing the harrowing details emerging regarding the children who died some years ago in mother and baby homes and the many questions raised regarding these deaths. We will properly review these issues. we will not confine this review to Tuam. My colleagues and I have tasked officials from key government departments with scoping these issues so that government can make decisions on the precise content, the format, the method of organising this review. Relevant government departments have already met today. We're working together in preparation for the government's early consideration and determination of the best course of action. The cross-departmental initiative underway is examining these matters and will report to government on how they might be addressed. Departments involved include the Department of Justice and Equality, the Department of Health, the Department of Children and Youth Affairs, the Department of Education and Skills, and the Department of the Environment, Community and Local Government. Amongst the decisions to be made by government in finalising arrangements as part of its overall deliberations on the format and conduct of the review will be the assignment of lead responsibility for implementation. Such scoping work is essential if fully informed decisions are to be made and matters are to be dealt with in an effective way. This is the experience in effectively initiating successful review processes in recent years. The work is proceeding speedily and promptly. It will consider all of the issues which have arisen and the particular factors which the review will need to take into account include, for example, the passage of time. Government will be kept up to date and expects to have the product of this consideration before the end of this month. Fortunately, I can state that much has changed in Irish society in relation to the rights of mothers and children. In the domain of my own responsibilities, I can point to legislative change to reflect a greater regard for children's welfare and children's rights. However, in saying this, I in no way wish to detract from the pain and hurt that was caused to so many women and children by the events of the past. The government is committed to ensuring that the most appropriate action is taken to ensure that the concerns with regard to these deeply tragic and disturbing past events can be addressed and addressed in a prompt and swift manner. Thank you.